Hello all, a very good morning to all. So please write in the chat box. I think you all are live. So आप comment box लिखिए so I could able to understand. Okay. So first of all, on the behalf of STAD Solution, I warmly welcome you all for the webinar of Appium. So I think आप लोग में से बहुत लोग बहुत ज्यादा एक्साइटेड हो गए टू नो मोर अबाउट कि मोबाइल ऐप टेस्टिंग कैसे करते हैं, क्या क्या करते हैं, एज वेल एज हम अपियम टूल को यूज करके मोबाइल ऐप टेस्टिंग में क्या क्या चीजें कर सकते हैं. इज इट? जस्ट थम्स अप इन द चैट बॉक्स. Just give me thumbs up in the chat box. Okay, so before starting, आप लोग मुझे बता सकते हैं from where my audience are. आप just write your city name कि आप लोग कहाँ से हैं. So just write your city name. एज वेल एज आप एंड्रॉइड यूज करते हैं या फिर आप आईफोन यूजर्स हैं, क्योंकि हम लोग मोबाइल ऐप टेस्टिंग जब सीखेंगे तो उसमें हमारा ये डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन होगा कि वेदर यू आर यूजिंग इट एंड्रॉइड और यू आर गोइंग इट विद द आईफोन. ओके, सो हमारे पास पुणे से है, अहमदाबाद से है, अगेन पुणे, अहमदाबाद, मुंबई, नडियाद, नोएडा, वडोदरा, अहमदाबाद, पुणे. ओके, एंड्रॉइड बोथ, दैट्स ग्रेट. सूरत, आईफोन, एंड्रॉइड. बिल्कुल. इस पूरे वर्कशॉप में आपको प्रोजेक्ट भी एक्सप्लेन होंगे. सो मोस्टली पीपल आर फ्रॉम एंड्रॉइड एंड फ्रॉम मैक्सिमम पीपल जो वो एंड्रॉइड है, बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो दोनों यूज कर रहे हैं एंड बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो आईओएस यूज कर रहे हैं. ओके, सो बट एंड्रॉइड की मेजोरिटी ज्यादा है. सो आप लोगों के लिए अच्छा है कि ये जो वर्कशॉप हम कंडक्ट करने वाले हैं उसमें जो आपका प्रैक्टिकल टास्क होगा वो एंड्रॉइड पे होगा. तो आज की वर्कशॉप पे हम लोग अपीएम सीखेंगे वाइल यूजिंग द एंड्रॉइड ऐप. ओके, या एंड्रॉइड ऐप पे हम लोग पूरा सीखने वाले हैं. So before starting with this, let me give a small introduction of STAD Solution, जो आपका ये पूरा वर्कशॉप कंडक्ट कर रहे हैं. So let me share my screen. सो स्टैट सोल्यूशन जो है वो सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टिंग ट्रेनिंग कंपनी है. हम लोग सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टिंग के अंदर, स्पेसिफिक सॉफ्टवेयर टेस्टिंग के अंदर ट्रेनिंग प्रोवाइड करते हैं ऑन अ मल्टीपल टूल्स, जैसे मैनुअल टेस्टिंग हो गया, ऑटोमेशन टेस्टिंग हो गया, आईएसटी की भी ट्रेनिंग हो गया, टूल्स ट्रेनिंग हो गया. सो ये मेजोरिटी एरियाज में हम लोग ट्रेनिंग प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं. सो हमारा ट्रेनिंग मैथोलॉजी, फर्स्ट कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर करेंगे, उसके बाद उसी कॉन्सेप्ट पे हम लोग प्रैक्टिकल इंप्लीमेंट करेंगे, उससे रिलेटेड हम आपको असाइनमेंट्स प्रोवाइड करेंगे, लाइव एप्लीकेशंस पर ही हम लोग पूरा टेस्टिंग परफॉर्म करने वाले. साथ ही साथ जितना इंपॉर्टेंट हमारा टेक्निकल है उतना ही आज के टाइम पे हमारा नॉन टेक भी इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो हम लोग साथ में नॉन टेक प्रिपरेशन भी पूरा करेंगे. आपका रिज्यूमे राइटिंग होगा, रिज्यूमे प्रिपरेशन रहेगा. आफ्टर आपका पूरा ट्रेनिंग सेशंस कंप्लीट होने के बाद आपको सर्टिफिकेशंस प्रोवाइड किए जाएंगे एंड आपको जॉब इंटरव्यू कॉल्स दिए जाएंगे. Then why SAT Solution? It is an ISO certified company. So after your training जो आपको सर्टिफिकेट मिलेगा वो ISO सर्टिफाइड होगा. ऑलरेडी हम लोग 5000 से ज्यादा स्टूडेंट्स को ट्रेन्ड एंड प्लेस्ड कर चुके हैं. 350 प्लस कंपनीज के साथ हम लोग प्लेसमेंट टाइप्स हैं. 60% placements will be in MNCs and MLCs, and most of the faculties are all industrial expert faculties. And we are providing 100% placement supports to also the students. We have a student across the globe like USA, Canada, Poland, Singapore, UAE, UK, Germany, New Zealand, etc. So ये कुछ लिस्ट ऑफ कंपनीज है जहां पे हमारे स्टूडेंट्स ने सक्सेसफुली अपना करियर स्टार्ट किया. So this is about the SAT solution. सो स्टैट सोल्यूशन में बहुत सारे इवेंट्स हम लोग कंडक्ट करते हैं। आप लोग स्टैट सोल्यूशन का इंस्टाग्राम, यूट्यूब चैनल जरूर फॉलो करें, वहां पर आपको बहुत सारी अपकमिंग इवेंट्स के बारे में पता चलेगा। एज वेल एज आप स्टैट सोल्यूशन के वेबसाइट पे आइए, यहाँ पे आप फुटर में जाइएगा। इन फुटर आपको सपोर्ट्स के अंदर एक इवेंट मिलेगा, आप इवेंट पे क्लिक करिए और यहाँ पे आपको अपकमिंग वर्कशॉप्स, वेबिनार्स, इवेंट्स के बारे में सारी डिटेल मिल जाएगी। जैसे अभी हमारा अपकमिंग इवेंट है एआई टेस्टिंग वर्कशॉप्स। सो आज हम लोग मोबाइल ऑटोमेशन टेस्टिंग सीखने वाले, एंड कमिंग नेक्स्ट वीक हम लोग एआई टेस्टिंग की वर्कशॉप सीखने वाले। इसके साथ साथ स्टैट सोल्यूशन अपने स्टूडेंट्स के लिए एक कोर्स भी लेकर आया है, ताकि आप अपने फ्री टाइम में बैठकर इजीली पूरे कोर्स को गो थ्रू कर सको। सो आप जैसे ही courses.statsolution पर जाएंगे, इसका लिंक आपको चैट बॉक्स में भी मिल जाएगा और डिस्क्रिप्शन में भी मिल जाएगा। जैसे आप courses.statsolution में जाएंगे, यहाँ पे आपको डीबीएमएस का कोर्स मिल जाएगा, पोस्टमैन का कोर्स मिल जाएगा, एंड आईएसटी के भी जो अभी लेटेस्ट आया है फाउंडेशन लेवल 4, इसके कोर्सेज भी आपको मिल जाएंगे। व्हेन यू क्लिक ऑन दैट, जैसे आप आईएसटी के पे क्लिक कर रहे हैं, आपको यहाँ पर डिटेल्ड ऑफ द कोर्स भी मिल जाएगा, सारे टॉपिक वाइज। सी, हर एक टॉपिक वाइज सामने पूरा एग्जाम का स्ट्रक्चर्स, हर एक चैप्टर वाइज आपको यहाँ पे सारे टॉपिक्स मिल जाएंगे। हर चैप्टर के बाद उस चैप्टर का एक क्विज है, सेम विद चैप्टर 2, चैप्टर 3, चैप्टर 3 का क्विज, चैप्टर 4 का क्विज, चैप्टर 5 का क्विज, 6 का क्विज, एंड लास्ट में आपके पास 8 सैंपल पेपर्स भी हैं। सो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट द आईएसटीक्यूबी। जिनको भी आईएसटीक्यूबी में एग्जाम देना है, यू कैन परचेज दिस कोर्स। आप यहाँ से प्रिपरेशन करो, मल्टीपल सैंपल पेपर्स को रिजॉल्व करो, एंड जस्ट गेट अ गुड मार्क्स इन आईएसटीक्यूबी एग्जाम। साथ ही साथ जिन्हें एपीआई सीखना है, सो यहाँ पे एपीआई का भी कोर्स है विद द पोस्टमैन। यहाँ पे आपको डिटेल में सारे टॉपिक्स की डिटेल में पूरा मिल जाएगा, like 45 minutes, 16 minutes, 49 minutes, 46 minutes, 1 hours के आपके पूरे के पूरे यहाँ पे डिटेल सेशंस है। सो आपको डिटेल में पूरा कोर्स का कंटेंट मिल जाएगा विथ प्रैक्टिकल लाइव एग्जाम्पल्स। तो आप इजीली लाइव एग्जाम्पल्स के साथ पूरा पोस्टमैन अच्छे से कर सकते हैं। सो आज का सेशन है हमारा अपियम के ऊपर। सो लेट मी शेयर इट, जस्ट गिव मी अ सेकेंड। ओके, सो आज का जो सेशन है आपका, वो एक एक्सपर्ट ले रहे हैं, मिस्टर रनीश चौधरी। सो मैं छोटा सा इंट्रोडक्शन आपको रनीश के बारे में देना चाहूंगी। ही इज अ लीड क्यूई एट अडोब करंटली। उनका ऑलरेडी 8+ years ऑफ एक्सपीरियंसेस है, एंड डाइवर्स डोमेन्स के अंदर उन्होंने काम किया है। इवन टॉप 3 बैंक्स लाइक कनाडा, यूएसए, मैक्सिको, ऐसी बैंक्स के साथ उन्होंने काम किया है, ऐसे क्लाइंट्स के साथ उन्होंने काम किया है, डिफरेंट क्लासिफाइड डोमेन्स के अंदर काम किया है। अगर मैं उनके पास रोल की बात करूं तो ओलेक्स ग्रुप के अंदर ग्लोबैंड, इन्फोस्ट्रेच एंड टीसीएस जैसे बिग नेम ऑफ कंपनीज के साथ उन्होंने वर्कआउट किया है। उनका कोर कॉम्पिटेंस है रिक्वायरमेंट एनालाइज, टेस्ट स्ट्रेटजीज या ऑटोमेशन फ्रेमवर्क डेवलप करना, लीडरशिप या मेंटरशिप्स। सो अपियम का उन्हें बहुत ही इनडेप्थ नॉलेज है। सो वो आज अपना नॉलेज आप सबके साथ शेयर करना चाहेंगे, एंड आई रियली विश कि आज आप लोग बहुत सारी नई चीजें सीखने वाले, बहुत सारी नई मोबाइल एप्लीकेशन से रिलेटेड चीजें सीखेंगे। सो नाउ आई एम हैंडिंग ओवर टू द रनीश। So Ranish, please go ahead and just make our audience to know more about Appium today. So
Sure.
Ranish. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction, Richa. And yeah, thanks again for the STAD solution for inviting me. I'm excited to just share with you all about Appium, and we will discuss about why do we need to learn Appium, like how can it benefit you, how can you do the skill up, how does it matter in the interviews, what packages can you get if you learn Appium. So I'll discuss all those things, and we have the session planned, and I would like the chat section to be interactive. So in between, I'll be asking you a couple of questions. So let's start with the session. I'm sharing my screen. Just okay. Let me start the presentation. And I'm just waiting for the chat section to confirm that my audio and video is fine. You are able to see my screen, which says mobile automation using Appium, STAD solution with 𝗙𝗂𝗏𝗏. Okay, I got a couple of yes. You are able to hear me clearly and you are able to see my video. Okay, let's start. So we'll be having this session and it is approximately going to be around 1 hour. And we'll be discussing a couple of things. We have the set of agenda. I'll also show you that. But first, we have to figure out that this technology called Appium, how does it fit into the whole picture of test automation? Why does it matter to you? Why do you need to learn it? So we'll discuss about all these things. So let's start. Okay. To give a brief introduction about myself, I'm currently working as lead QE, as already Richa mentioned. I'm working at Adobe. I've been here for 1.5 years. Before that, I also worked in different companies. Overall, I have 8+ years of experience, and I am primarily in testing for the whole 8 years and be completing 9 years in September. I do like to travel to play badminton. I also like to watch anime. If there are any anime fans in the chat, do let me know your favorite anime. Mine is Steins Gate and Attack on Titan. So I do like watching anime a bit. And yeah, that's a bit overview about me. You can also check out my LinkedIn and get to know more about me. Okay, that's it about me. And this is the most important question. Why should we learn APM? Why does it matter? Like we are learning about different technologies on daily basis, and maybe you already know about automation like Selenium, web automation, or APIs as well. But why should you learn about APM? This is an important question that needs to be answered because we can learn 10 different things, but it should make sense in our career. It should make sense in our skills. It should give us the rewards. That that's why we should learn it, right? So for this question, I have to answer that question. I want you to first answer these questions. So right now, everyone has a smartphone. This was not the case some 10 years back, right? So if I ask you how much of the total world's population, that is 8 billion, how much of that uses smartphones? Also, I would want you to answer how much percentage is Android users versus iOS users. So you can mention your chat responses like one is 2.5 billion, like 2.5 billion users out of 8 billion uses smartphones. And then you can mention the percent of Android versus iOS, that is 50-50, or it is 70-30, whatever you think it is. So I'm waiting for your responses in the chat and then we'll discuss. And like I said, let's make it interactive. I want to see the responses and I want you to be actively participating in this webinar/workshop. Okay, I'm starting to get some answers. 70 Android, 30 iOS, 5 billion smartphone users. Okay, Android is 70-30. Okay, mostly I'm seeing 70-30 ratio. Okay, Raj Patel says 60-40. Okay, they also says 70-30. Okay, another answer for 60-40. Okay, let's keep the answers coming. And let me also show you the facts so that you can verify whether your guess is correct or not. Okay, Utsav says 7 billion smartphone users. Okay, that's an interesting number. Okay, so I also do these guesses, and we all know that if you see everyone around you, everyone has a smartphone, right? There may be some people, some different people who maybe have two smartphones, and that can happen as they are too busy or they're doing some multitasking. Their work cannot be done on one phone. So there are those users as well. But yeah, let's see the fact. This is the facts. And I also check my facts and I also check them regularly. So I check this fact from priority data that 4.88 billion plus smartphone users are there. Okay. And if I talk about percentage or segregation of Android versus iOS, it is 72 to 27. So that is approximately 70-30. So those of you who mentioned that, that is great. There are also other operating systems like Samsung. There are also other operating systems that is categorized under unknown, but they are just 0.1%. There is KaiOS and there is Windows. So you must have seen this Windows OS in Nokia Lumia phones. So their usage is now just 0.01%. Okay, these are the stats that I just checked in this year, and these are you can also see that these are approximate to what you have also guessed in the comment. So now with these many smartphone users, you have to think about how companies are strategizing for app creation. So nowadays companies are developing apps with multi-platform in mind. So if I talk about any app that you use, like Zomato, right, or Ola, Uber, so you can not imagine them without using your smartphone. They also have their websites, but they also have Android app and iOS app as well. So companies are creating their apps on multi-platform. So when these apps are developed on multi-platform, there is a need to test it. Okay. So then who will test it? We will test it, right? We are the testers. So I just wanted to highlight these numbers that there is a market for mobile testing. There is a market for mobile automation. You do not need to know the numbers. You already know that everyone is using a smartphone. Every company is having an app on Android, iOS. So that's why there's a good reason to learn about mobile automation. Okay, like I said, we have the agenda for session. These are all the things that we'll be covering. Uh, we'll First I'll be covering the introduction to Appium, the architecture of Appium. I'll also give a setup overview, and I'll also discuss about Android locators using Appium Inspector. There will be some live demos. Okay, and there's a cloud execution as well using browser stack because that is getting popular and it is already used much in the industry. And then we'll discuss about how to prepare for a Appium interview. And then in the end, we'll take Q&A. But if in between also you have some questions, you can mention in the chat and we can look at it and try to answer in real time. So that's it for the session. And let me introduce you to Appium. So if you are someone who already know about web automation, or even if you don't know, you know that there is a tool called Selenium, and it is used to automate the websites on our browsers, that is Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Safari, all the browsers, right? We use this library called Selenium to automate the test cases on the browsers. Now, Appium is used to automate the same test cases, but on different form factors like mobile, iPad, and in case Android TVs as well. And I was shocked and surprised to see that Appium can be used to automate the Android TVs, Android smart TVs that you have in your home. So different form factors, different devices can be automated using Appium. Okay, this is just a very brief or short intro. I will also discuss in detail the architecture, but just wanted to give a high level comparison. Okay, moving ahead. This is the architecture of Selenium. So you must have seen this kind of diagram on different websites. So we'll discuss what is happening here. And let me also take out a pen. And again, as I'm explaining this, I'll be dependent on you. If you have any question, you can mention in the chat and we can take it up. Okay, let's start. So first, let's understand how Selenium works, right? Before even jumping on to Appium, because Appium is a bit complex. It has a lot of tools and technologies and devices there. First, let's understand how Selenium works. Maybe you already know that, but this is a good foundation to understand the Appium architecture. Okay, so the we'll start from here. These are the real browsers. You have your browser, right? If I just open a browser here, we have a browser. Let me open amazon.in. Any specific website that we want automated, what we normally do, we maybe get its locator from this inspect tab. Then we create some script to automate it and verify some results, right? So if I just try to form how the architecture fits here. So we are here at the real browser, can be Chrome, Firefox, any other browser. And then there are different browser drivers. So browser drivers are nothing but some executable files which are created and maintained by different browsers, which say that, okay, if you want to automate something, use our executable to automate our browser. So to automate Chrome, you need Chrome driver, right? To automate Firefox, you need Firefox driver. And now it has been renamed to Gecko driver. Okay, and similarly, you have different drivers for Edge, IE, Safari, similar to that. Okay, now this executables know how to automate the drive, how to automate the browser, right? But who will send it the commands? The command is sent by Web3C protocol. So Web3C is a standard that is worldwide, pretty much standardized protocol which tells you to do certain things in certain ways. So they are W3C standards for development, they are W3C standards for testing and automation as well. So this W3C protocol says that if you want to automate the browsers, then you need to give me request in a certain way, in a certain format. Okay, so that is taken care by language libraries. They will send the request. What are the requests? So request is something like if someone wants to do click, right? If someone wants to maybe drag, right? These are the requests that you want to automate, or you want to type in some forms or apply some filter. These are the requests. These language libraries, so you can code either in Java, Python, C Sharp, JavaScript, TypeScript in many different languages. These libraries will allow you to code in your favorite language that gets converted into a W3C protocol, which is nothing just a standard way of sending the request to browser drivers, which in turn will send the commands to the real browsers. So this is all about the overview of architecture of Selenium, which you may or may not already know. Okay, before I jump onto the next section, I want you to mention in the comment, are we fine to move forward, or do you think you have some questions on this particular slide? I'll wait for some seconds. before moving forward? And like I said, this is your workshop, right? You came here to learn something. On a Saturday, you would have chosen to watch a movie, do some fun. You have come here to do some learning. I want you to be present here and yeah, ask questions, interact in the chat. Okay, I got some comments to move forward. Great. Okay, let me move forward. Now, this is the architecture of Appium. If you see that, some of the things are common. Okay, I have one question from Utsav. He says that, are we allowed to use any language or depends on the setup or on the company setup and infra? Yeah, so obviously, if you are creating something from scratch, it's up to you to allow to use the language that you want. But those language libraries should be present, right? Like if you are trying to create something on Ruby, maybe that language library is not present for Appium, so you may not be able to do that, right? And if the company that you're working for already using, they are already using some particular tech stack, so then you have to automate on that particular tech stack. Okay. Now, coming to architecture of Appium, if you see that there are some things which are similar. There we were having language libraries. Here we have Appium clients, which is nothing just language libraries for Appium. Okay, for the W3C protocol, I'll come back in a bit and explain it again. But I have to first show you some of the demos to get you excited. For W3C protocol, I have noted, I will come back at it again. Okay. Now, for this architecture of Appium clients is something which is same, right? W3C protocol is same. What different? So this driver, it is same. The platform, the real where the execution will happen, there we were having browsers. Here we are having devices. In those devices, we may have native apps, hybrid app, web apps, right? So these are all the things, the tick that I've put, they are same. One thing that stood out is this. So this is Appium V2 what I have written. So there was a recent upgrade from Appium version 1 to 2 in last year. So I've written here Appium server. Okay, to explain that, let me open my whiteboard. Okay, so suppose that this is the real device or emulator, whatever, where you want to do some automation. Okay, and now we are having some commands that is set by W3C protocol. So these requests will be something like, okay, hey, click on it, click on some element, send keys, type in something in a form field, something like that. Any action that user can do, you can do via automation, right? So these requests are not directly understood by real device. Okay, in case of browsers, because browsers have themselves implemented these different browser drivers, so they directly understand what is happening here. But in case of Appium, there is a need of a medium in between who tells to mobile that, hey, uh, you cannot directly communicate here. You need to go through something which is called Appium server. Now, what this Appium server does, it will take the request from W3C protocol, and then it will send the request to real device. It will create a server like you are requesting a website from server, and then it is giving you response. Similar to that, it is creating a server who request to the real driver to do some commands, again, like click, send keys, or whatever you want to do, and then give the response that, okay, this command is done. It is now uh, performed. So there's an extra layer Appium server, which is not there in browser because browser already understands the browser driver language. Here we need a mediator so that it can convert whatever is getting from the W3C protocol to the drivers to the real device. Okay. And because real devices are complex, or real device or emulator or mobile is complex. Why? Because you can also access the device level things, like you can get the battery status, you can get access to the mobile keyboard, you can also access different type of apps. In case of web automation, you are only accessing the site that you are automating. You are not accessing anything else of the system, right? So that is why there is a need to handle this complexity. For that, there's an extra layer here in the Appium architecture. Okay, now this is the only thing that stood out in our comparison. And again, keep the questions coming. If you have any, I'll take it. And let's see what is happening here. Okay, and let me zoom in again on the presentation. So when we talk about Appium, so it is not just one tool. This is the whole ecosystem of different tools and technologies that help us to automate. So if I talk about Selenium, you would say that, okay, we need to include one library and then we'll be able to automate. We'll use some drivers and then we should be able to automate. In case of Appium, you have to do many things, and this is a whole ecosystem of things and tools. Okay, so first tool is Appium Inspector. So if I talk about web, this is the inspector that we can open from our uh, developer console. We can just do a right click and do inspect. It will open, right? We can get to the different locators by use of this inspector, right? Okay, so this inspector in Appium terms is called Appium inspector. There's a Appium server. This one I have explained. This is a mediator from which gets the request from the W3C protocol and then relays along the drivers, which goes on to the real device. Okay. Now we also have Appium drivers. So similar to web browser drivers, we have Chrome drivers, even UI Automator 2 is for Android, XUI test is for iOS. So there are different drivers which will actually drive the real device. Okay. So similar to our Selenium, we have Appium clients. These are nothing but libraries which we will ingest in our framework. So if you are using Maven, these are like the dependencies that you add that will allow you to use Java to automate Appium. So for Java, the library that is there for client Appium is Appium Java. Okay. Now there's something called plugins. So Appium capabilities can be extended and you can also create your custom plugins. Some plugins are already present. So there's something, I'll just give an example of images plugin. So you can do visual testing in Appium using this images plugin. You can do comparison and all sort of things using this plugin. So these plugins extend the capability of already existing things of Appium. So they are the whole plugin marketplace, and also you can develop the plugin for Appium that will help you. Okay, now you must think that, hey, this is all too much theory. We have not even seen what Appium looks like, right? So we'll come to the execution part in the live demo part in a bit. Just to check your presence, I want you to answer this question. Can Selenium be used to automate web browsers in a mobile? And this can be asked in your interviews as well, but I'm just asking you to check whether you are present here. So yeah, let me know in the chat. Okay, Pawan says no. Okay, is there anyone who thinks yes? Okay, Utsav says yes. Okay, Anish says no. Okay, I have enough answers. Okay, yeah. So, like I said, if you see clearly the architecture of Appium, you would need a Appium server to do anything on mobile. So you cannot use Selenium, which does not have that Appium server in between, to automate even the web browsers. So the web browsers on Appium, on your real device or emulators, they also need to go through the Appium route. So you cannot automate your uh, mobile web browsers with just using Selenium. Okay. This was just a quick question to check your presence. Now here comes the setup part. And I must admit to you, I have used Appium in multiple companies I have worked for. And this is the most troublesome part. So whenever you had to do a setup of Appium from scratch, you need to install multiple tools and technologies just to make it ready for uh, Appium automation. Or even just starting up a emulator would also require you to do some setup. So uh, pay your attention here, because this is, like I said, this is the most difficult part. If you have the setup done, it is done in a really good manner, then I would say half your work is done, because this takes time. Okay. Okay, I may have done a mistake here. This is Android Studio. Okay, so I'll talk about the technologies from top to bottom. So this is the NPM. If anyone has worked on the JavaScript part of things or worked on maybe Playwright with TypeScript, you know that NPM is Node Package Manager. It is similar to what you have in Maven, which can download the libraries from Maven repositories and get to your local. So this is similar to Maven, but in the JavaScript world. So you will be able to install different tools in the like Appium Doctor, Appium Inspector, or the Appium server as well via use of this. Okay, Node.js. So Node.js is the server. Node.js is the executable. It allows or make your system to be able to execute a Node.js application. So if I compare it with Java, if you install Java, there is something that gets installed, that is JRE, Java Runtime Executable. Right? It allows you to run the Java applications. So similar to this, Node.js allows you to run JavaScript-based applications at your local. Okay, so this is just the runtime to run JavaScript-based applications. So Appium is JavaScript-based server, that is Node.js server. So that is why we need Node.js to run it. Okay, and Android Studio will provide you the SDK and the emulator that will be required to start an emulator and connect to it and automate it, right? So if you are working on automating iOS, then there's something called Xcode. It it has its whole ecosystem. Right now in this session, we'll be only talking about Android. So this Android Studio is also used by developers to develop the uh, Android applications. Next, we have the Appium Inspector. Again, a typo here is Appium Inspector. This is a GUI tool to explore the UI elements and fetch the locators. So this is something similar, like I said, when you do right click inspect, you get all the information about the DOM. So this is just the same inspector, but for mobile. Next, we have the Appium server. Like I said, this is a mediator that communicates between our test scripts and the real device. So it tells what our scripts want to do to the real device and executes everything and gets us the responses. Again, like I said, this is the most difficult part. You can just directly Google search these terms and install it to do your setup. I've also included this in one of the Git repos where you can follow it line by line, step by step, how to install them and make your setup ready. The whole project that we'll be discussing about is also present under the same link. I am pasting that in the chat. Richa, please include this link in part of description also in case it gets lost in the chat. Reference project. So this is very basic project that we'll do just to check our setup, automate some apps, and then try on some advanced things as well. Okay, coming back. Like I said, this README file will tell you all about the setup and everything that you can do. And let's move forward. This is the starting part of automation. How can we connect to a device that we want to automate and then inspect the locators using the Appium inspector? So it will be something similar to what we did here. We opened amazon.in, right? Then we try to inspect its element to check, okay, this is the ID. If I create my locator with this ID, right? If I do something like, it will be able to identify my element, right? So we'll be doing something similar, but on an Android device. Okay, let me minimize this and start. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do is start your Appium server by just a common command, that is Appium. It will say that, hey, welcome to Appium 2.2. It will load some drivers. We'll be using this particular driver to automate the Android. And it will also show you that I'm available on this particular server. So like I said, this is Appium server. It will be available at some particular IP and port. So this 127.0.0.1 is a local host because I am currently automating at my local. This is the port number. So our Appium server is present on this IP at particular port number where it is exposing itself. Okay. Now, how does our Appium inspector connects? Let me open the Appium inspector. Okay. So this is the Appium inspector. Like I said, it is similar to the web inspector, but just for mobile. How do you start the emulator? Let me go to Android Studio. And again, you will see all these things when once you are able to do the setup. Okay, and I'm sharing the link again so that you have the setup ready whenever you choose to do it. But I'll show you a demo quick. Yeah, so here you go to Virtual Device Manager. it will open something like this. You can also create new devices based on your requirement. For this demo, I have already created a device and I'll be starting it. This is the device which has started. Let me go to the homepage. So this is, if you are seeing it for the first time, this is just like your real device, but it is emulated on your operating system. So you cannot, it will have the Wi-Fi same as your device Wi-Fi, but you cannot install SIM or anything because it is virtual. Okay. And okay, for the links, Richa will also add it in the description later. For now, let's see the demo. I've also pasted the link, but yeah, it may have been lost in the chat. Okay, now my emulator is ready. My Appium server is ready. Let's see what I'll do in the inspector. Now our inspector needs to do some needs to set some configuration. Like we need to tell the platform name that we are automating. So currently we are automating Android. Which Android version we are automating? So this is Android 14. That we need to mention, like Appium platform version. Then we need to mention the automation name. This is the name of the driver. So if I show you again, our Appium server started with loading our driver, right? Like I said, it is a driver that is used to automate Android. Okay, let me minimize it. Now, our configuration is saying that connect to a Android device of 14 version using our driver. What is the next thing? Next thing is this ADB command is provided to us by SDK tools of Android Studio. When you install the Android Studio, you also need to download the SDK tools. Some version of SDK tools is already installed, but if you want for certain versions, that you need to install separately. And again, I've included that in the wiki, in the README file that I created, and we will also provide it in the description. Okay, the command that you need to run is ADB devices. You will see that currently my emulator is up. It is showing the list of devices attached. If you have a real device, you can also attach it via data cable and then turn on the debugging, and you can also see your real devices getting connected here. But for now, we are talking about emulator. So let me start this session. So I'm just provided these three things. This starting the session, and the app that will be automating is the settings app. So it has already shown us what is there on the screen. Let me refresh it. Okay, what does it show here? It shows there is a settings app. This is similar to the DOM that you see on the web page. The DOM that I'm talking about is this one. This is a document object model, right? It starts with HTML and ends with HTML as well, right? Similar to this, there's a DOM for Android apps and iOS apps as well. So this is a DOM and it is showing us all the different things. If I want to identify some particular element, for that I just need to tap on it. And it will tell us all the different ways we can identify it by ID, by class name, by Android UI automator, or by the XPath. There are different ways, and these are different attribute values also for the same tag. This is a tag present here, right? And we can also try doing some actions here. So if I want to search here, say battery, and do send keys. Okay, let me see if I'm interacting with the correct element. This is the element that I want to interact with. Send keys. It has failed. Let me see that. Why? Am I able to click on it? Okay, I'm able to click on it. Then I will search. Okay, my bad. Let me go back and refresh it. Okay, so we are first clicking on it, and then this search bar comes. This is the search view. Not this one. I want this. Edit text. So edit text is the tag in which you can enter something. So it was not present in the earlier one, so I'm just able to see it now. And now let me try to enter the battery here. See, I was able to enter here. And then if I want to click on any element, let's say this one, this is Android ID switch, and let me just tap it. See, it does the action. So right now I'm interacting with the app using the Appium inspector. I'm able to see the whole DOM, what is happening. And this is the same thing that we'll be doing in our automation script. So I just wanted to show you how we can leverage Appium inspector to find the elements. And it shows us in a very clear way. We do not see it this clear way in the browser unless we install some extensions like selector sub and other extensions so that we see the ID attributes or different type of locators that we can uh, use to identify. So APM inspector gives that out of the box. It provides us all the way we can identify and interact with the element. Okay. Now let me go back to our board. So this was all about the live demo, how to connect using APM inspector. Okay, I think I see some comments here in the chat. Yeah, this is the same way how you inspect on the website. Just I have shown you the way for mobile device. Okay, now here we will start with our first automation script. But before I start, is there any question related to how we used APM inspector uh, to do the inspection of the app, see the DOM, and see the elements of that? Okay, Priyanka says that, so do we do the setup in our laptops and then connect the device for testing? Yes, absolutely. Or you can use a emulator like I have done here. This is a virtual device that you get when you install the Android Studio. Similar to that, for uh, iOS automation, you can do it on a Mac device where you need to install the Xcode. Okay. And to connect a mobile to laptop, the question of Kushali, you can connect it via USB cable, your data cable, and then turn on the USB debugging option, and then you will be able to connect your device. But yeah, I would say first play around with this emulator, and also keep in mind that emulator also takes your system resources. So you should have enough CPU RAM in your system to support it. So their recommendation is that you should have at least 8 GB of RAM, and you should have at least I think Core i5 with 4 core processor or equivalent. Then you should be able to do it. Okay. Now, if there are any question, just let me know in the chat. I'm starting with the first script to automate the settings app. And again, we will do the same actions, right? That I've just shown you. Open the settings app, search for battery, and toggle the battery save. That switch is there, right? So I'm keeping things simple because we do not create the whole framework in one night, right? You first build the building blocks. You first establish the foundation and see whether your setup is working fine, right? So the project that we are going to create is just for that. And let me try to create a new project. I'm going to create a project. Yep, 26 April. I'm going to create a Maven type project and it will use JDK 17. Okay. And for the archetype, I use the most used archetype. This is to say that this is a template on creating a project. So I always use quick start. I have been using, and many people are using this quick start archetype, which gives you certain folder structures already created and some classes already created. Okay. I'm creating it in a new window. And let me see. Okay, so this projects give you some folder structure. If you are new to Maven, this Maven will give you certain structure of the project and also ways how you can include the libraries in your project. So if you follow Gradle or Ant, the setup will be a bit similar, but just you have to create the project using those build tools. So here I'm using the most popular build tool, that is Maven, and it has the perm XML. It also created this nice folder directory so that we can, you know, check out our test cases and do the execution. Okay. So for now, the first thing that we have to do is just to see how our framework is structured and just to execute one test case, right? I do not even want to connect Appium right now, just execute one test case. For that, let me go to POM XML. I'm removing JUnit dependency. If you are using JUnit in your projects, that is all fine. For this demo purpose, I'm using TestNG. TestNG is a good popular framework, testing framework, which allows you to control your test execution, do parallel runs, and all sorts of things. I'm going to the app test class. And if you see here, everything is related to JUnit. Whenever I include a dependency, I need to do a Maven refresh. It will load my particular library. To give you a proof of that, you can go to external libraries and see the test.ng present here. Okay, again, going back to the class, removing some of the things that are unnecessary. And let me write a simple test case. Now, very simple class. I've just written one test case and I'm just printing something. That's it. So for you to be able to see this play icon or run icon, you should have the test.ng plugin. And if you're installing IntelliJ, so this is IntelliJ IDE, this plugin will be there by default. If you are using any other IDE, then you would have to install it, or maybe it comes by default. You need to check it. Okay. Now, if I just do right click, run. Okay, someone says for Appium, understanding Java is a prerequisite. No, Kushali, understanding JavaScript is not prerequisite. I just told about NPM and Node.js because that is just needed to be installed to get some of the tools and libraries for us. So you do not need to learn JavaScript. Here we'll be coding everything in Java. Okay, now our test case executed. I can see it in the console. Our just I've included one dependency, that is test.ng, and just executed it. That's it. Okay, now let's move forward. What is the next thing that we need to do? If I go back to our diagram, which was here, right? We already have Appium inspector. We have installed the Appium server. We have the Appium drivers. The next thing is Appium clients, right? Let me go back. Not this one, this one. Yeah. So in order to install the Appium client, I am using this particular version of Appium Java client, that is 9.4.0. And I would advise you to use this one. This is just latest one, and maybe when you are trying it, there may be a version that is more latest than this one, but it is also pretty latest, so you should be able to do your execution. Okay, our Appium Java client dependency is added. Whenever you add a dependency, you do a Maven load. Okay, also I have seen that you can be having some problem while execution if you do not set the source and compiler, your compiler source and target versions. So for me, I am doing everything on Java 17. So I'm setting it here, as well as if I open settings here, I should set my language level to 17. See, this is the project SDK. If you go in modules, here also we need to set the language level. Otherwise, we'll not be able to use some of the features of latest Java versions. Okay, now coming back, here is our script, right? And if you just have seen the demo of Appium Inspector, we have to think, how can our app connect to, how can this particular test case connect to Appium, which is in turn automating the app, right? So the first thing that we did in our inspector, if I close this, we set the capabilities. These are the configurations to tell our Appium we want to connect to a device of Android type, should be of version 14 using this particular driver. Okay, let me do the same here in the script. Okay, I have all the code already ready. So I'm just pasting it here to save time. So you need to create an object of desired capabilities class. You need to set the same. We are setting the same 3 capabilities. Now, the extra thing that we are going to do is we are setting the app package and activity. So it can happen that you are automating an app which is already installed. Then you just need to mention app package and app activity. You can also install an app on your devices. There's a different capabilities for that. But for now, we are talking about automating an app which is already present in your phone. Okay. Now, the next thing. The next thing is, so these are the capabilities, right? The next thing is to tell our script where to connect, right? If I open Appium Inspector, we are connecting to 127.0.1 and to this remote port. Okay. So if you are aware about Selenium, or even if you are not aware of it, this is how we are creating our driver. This driver will in turn do the actual automation, all the clicks and different things that you want to do. It will be done by this driver. Okay. It is just giving an error because I need to add an exception to the method signature. We are telling our script that connect to this particular IP this columns port with these capabilities to do our automation. Okay. So this step is called initializing the driver. Now, what is the next step? The next step is we want to click on this search settings, right? For that, I have already noted the ID of that, and we just perform a click. So for now, I'm not using any page object model, anything like that. For now, I just want to test whether my setup is correct, whether I'm able to execute at least one single script with this. Okay. What is the next thing? The next thing is we want to set something in the search bar. This is our search bar, and we need to set something here. Send keys. We need to set battery. Okay. Let me execute it now with the code that I have, and let's see what is happening. Before running anything, I will do maven compile so that all my Java code will be compiled. You can also do directly run it. That will also do the same thing. Okay. This is my script. This is my device. Okay. And my Appium server is ready, right? It was showing the logs for last execution. Right now it is in ready state. And let me start the execution. Let's see what is happening on here. Okay, see, it launched our app, it clicked on it, right? If you see that, it clicked on it. The execution was fast. Let me show you again what is happening. If I add a debug point. So if you are new to debugging, you can just do right click, debug. It will stop at particular point that you have put your breakpoint on. Okay. Now I have debugged it. We have opened the app. Here we are clicking on the action bar, this search action bar. Click, it opened, right? It did the action. Then we are doing some send keys battery here. See, it set the battery. Then it is getting quit. Okay, now our test case passes. But if I just do a normal execution, let me see what happens. Okay, now comes the interesting part. It shows that no such element exception. Element could not be located with these value. It was not able to get the second element. Okay, this is the script that we have, very small script. Can anyone tell what is the problem? We are just clicking on one element and then putting send keys in another. That's it. And we get no such element for the second one. Can anyone guess why we are getting this error? Just mention in the chat. I am checking your presence in some duration just to keep you awake what is happening. See, it showed us no such element exception on this particular line. So yeah, waiting for your replies on the chat. Okay, I'm still waiting. I'll proceed once I have at least one answer. Even if it is not correct, I do not want you to just guess the correct answer or tell the correct answer. I want you to try to answer it. Okay. Priyanka says first we need to click it, then send keys. So we are clicking on the search, then we are doing send keys on the other element. Swapnil says it is unable to fetch the element by ID locator. No, we use the same locator that is there in the Appium inspector. I can show you that. But yeah, there's nothing that is problem with the locator. Let me show you execution once again. And if you remember, while I was debugging, it was working perfectly fine. Okay, let me show the execution once again. Swapnil says it's unable to, we can use XPath. Okay, can you see again the same thing happened? But if I have put the debug point, see, it clicked on it, then it set the battery, our test cases pass. There is no exception. That is weird. I want you to think what is happening here. Okay, Priyanka says wait time. Prasenjit says cursor is not there. Okay, so I'll go ahead with the approach that Priyanka says. She says that there is no wait here. Charul also says wait. Perfect. Let me try using a wait that I know to be useful. That is explicit wait. So firstly, I will store it in an element. And then okay, sorry, it will not be web element. It will be web element, but using that class. Yeah. Now I will use something called, okay, web driver, wait. It is not there. Let me see if I'm missing a library here quickly. Okay, let me see if I can call the WebDriver wait. Okay, it is there. And it has been imported. I'm waiting the element to be clickable, and then I will do the send keys. So thanks to Charul and Priyanka, let me try your approach and see what is happening. Okay, now it is with wait. Let me try the execution again. What is the issue? It says Java time does not exist. I have already mentioned the encoding here and did my STK defaults here. Let me do a b1 compile. Okay, everything is fine. And let me do the test again. That is weird. Okay, I need to check this error, but for demo purposes, I already have a backup. So I will use that backup. There is something wrong with the Java configuration of that project. I'll show you once with this project. Okay, see here also I'm using WebDriver wait. And let me see the execution. See, it launched the app and now search the bar. It waited for search bar, right? And then only proceeded. So yeah, in my other project, there's some anything wrong with the Java config, but yeah, I already have a backup for this. I use the same WebDriver wait to do the wait and do a send keys. So thanks to Priyanka and Charul for your comment. The issue was wait only. And like I said, this is a very basic project, right? We are just using driver.findby directly in our test case. In the real projects, in your company projects, you would use the page object model or anything else. But I want you to first start with the absolute basics and then try to include the page object model and everything. With this test, I know that my setup is done. I am able to automate uh, using Appium on my particular laptop. Okay, going back. Okay, a quick question to check your presence. What do you think about the package that you get if you know Appium? Or generally, what is the package that guys are getting who knows maybe automation using Appium along with other automations, obviously. But yeah, I want to I want you to guess a number. Pratibha says 6 to 8 LPA. Eight to 10, 12 to 15. Okay, 12 to 15. And yeah, so just to tell you clearly, uh, I have used APM skills to crack 2 interviews. And in one of the interview where I cracked, I got 100% hike. And just because I knew APM and their primary use case was to automate on APM. And I've seen that generally people who are having experience like in between 3 years to 10 years, and they know the APM knowledge, uh, they are preferred and given at least 20-30% more, or even in the case you are invited for the interview only if you know APM because their requirements are particularly for the APM. Okay, so generally speaking, normally 3 to 10 years experience, people are getting anything between 8 to 30, 40, 50 lakhs packages if they know and combine APM with their skills of automation, like along with Selenium and API. But what I'm focusing on more is y- in the companies where requirement is to do mobile testing and automation, you will be invited for interview only if you know APM. So that is the most important part. If you do not have APM in your resume, in your skills, that is something that is needed to be changed because people, you will be auto eliminated out from the search of HRs if you do not know about APM. Okay. Uh, Richa, you are there, right?
Hello. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, Richa. So it's around 12:30 right now. I do have one demo more to show and some questions to discuss about interview. Shall I directly jump to that or
I think we can discuss the interview questions and
okay,
we go to with the feedbacks. We'll
okay,
definitely come again with some other Appium sessions as well, so we can discuss those examples over there.
perfect, perfect. So let me just directly jump to the interview questions and preparation. For the execution related to cloud using browser stack, I've already included that in the link that we will share for the repo. Yeah. And I think people are asking, will I get, what will the package for 1 year's experience? So Swapnil, like I said, it all depends on the requirements that they are having. If the APM is in their requirements, then you will get a good package based on the skills that you are having. Okay. Is learning a Selenium mandatory before learning Appium? It is not mandatory. And I would advise you to first go through Selenium route, understand the web automation, then come to Appium, because Appium setup and automation is a bit complex than Selenium. And that is why, like I said, companies are ready to pay you more for that particular skill, because it is complex and difficult to automate mobile apps. Yeah, I'll share the link for the browser stack, the cloud execution in the description, which I will mention it. I'll also mention it in the comment. Okay, finally, coming to the interview preparation, we are already at our time, 12:30. We are more than our time. But yeah, thanks to your interaction, I did not know how the session went. Yeah, for the interview preparation, I would want you to first focus. The primary thing to focus is uh, the programming part. I want you to have absolute command over one programming language of your choice. It can be Java, C Sharp, Python for you, or JavaScript, but it has to be one language where you are absolute confident. You have at least practiced multiple lead code, hacker rank questions. You are confident on that. That is a primary requirement. If you crack the coding round question, then 70-80% your interview is done, and you will be preferred over the other candidates. Okay, now coming specifically for mobile testing and automation, uh, you will be asked what are the specific things that are different in mobile. Okay, like what are the interruption testing? So interrupts is that whenever you are using an app, you switch or minimize your app and use another app, or you are using an app, someone rings your phone, that is an interrupt. So what would happen? You are using your app, suddenly battery dies down. Okay, these are all the interrupts. Localization is something that your app is used in multiple locales. You are using it is in India, maybe it is used in China, Japan. So you have to test for different localization. How would you test and automate that for the mobile apps? Okay, there are some orientation, landscape, portrait mode testing, network related performance, right? Then there are specific gestures to automate, like how would you automate swipes? How do you design a framework? Okay, how do you automate? What is your waiting strategy? If you observe, we were facing one problem here that was solved using a wait. Okay, you have to be very clear. What are the different weights that can be used? What are the locator strategies? Like I said, in Android, there are specific locators, like you can use a UI selector to locate an element, right? That is not there in the web. So these are things that are specific to mobile that you have to take care of. Okay, then you should know about how to do automation on the cloud using browser stack, source labs, and do the reporting. Because nowadays people are not executing on real device, right? They are not automating on emulators. They want everything to be automated on the real devices provided on the cloud, because services like browser stack, source labs provide you thousands of devices, and you do not have to worry about maintaining all those devices in real time. These companies take care of that, and you just need to write your automation scripts and execute on them. If you have these much experience and you have done hands-on and created a framework on your own, you should be able to crack the APM interviews with this knowledge, and should be able to get good rewards in your interviews. Okay, that's it for this session. This is the wrap-up time and the Q&A time. And I would say again, thanks to STAD Solutions for organizing it. And please follow them for their courses and trainings. They are doing awesome work. And yeah, that's it for the session. And if you have any questions, let me know in the chat. I'll also fill the feedback form that is present in the chat. I've also tried to use this presentation style instead of a PPT. And if you do like it, then also let me know. And yeah, I'm open for questions.
Hello.
Yes, Richa.
Yeah. So in chat box, the feedback link has been shared. You all have to fill the feedback forms. Those who fill the feedback forms, only those will get the certificate. So please kindly fill the feedback form. And you can follow the STAD Solution at YouTube, Instagram, for upcoming workshops, seminars on different technologies or upcoming events. So yeah, please continue with the Q&A and make sure while that, please fill the feedback forms. Yeah, Anishi may continue.
Okay. Risha, could you also paste this link of repository so that everyone have access to the project that we just
Yeah,
discussed?
just share me, I'll do that.
Okay. Okay. I'm sharing with you. Okay. I see there's a question. What is more preferred, web or mobile in the market? Like I said, it depends on the requirement of the company. If they are having mobile testing and automation in their requirements, then you would have to learn it. Otherwise, on the basic side, having web in your skills is absolute basic thing that you need to do. So just start from the web, and then move on to the Appium part. Because like I said, it is a bit complex than your web automation, and it will take time to do the setup and understand what is happening. Okay, Kushali says, what are the roadmap for Appium for freshers? Yeah, Kushali. So just do a hands-on. That is a roadmap. Um, do the setup, do actual execution, create the framework. Once you get hands-on, you understand, okay, what are the next things that I need to understand to be able to do it. So I will say do the hands-on and also learn about programming, how you can leverage that in your automation. That is absolute essential. So for freshers or for someone who's new to learning automation, I would say first learn about web automation, uh, then only jump to Appium so that you understands the complexity and able to automate it. Charu says in most of the company, people hire for automation but make you do manual. So Charu, it is not so you cannot control what happens in the company. Maybe you try to automate some things on your own, and like you are learning here on a Saturday, you are investing in your skills. So that is the best thing that you can do on your own. Create your own frameworks and try to do that. If you are able to leverage those skills in your company, that is perfectly fine. That will be a big benefit for you. Otherwise, try to find a company where your skills suits more. Okay, I think that's it for the questions. Thanks all for joining this. And yeah, over to you, Richa. You want to conclude?
Thank you all. I hope you have learned a lot of things today and just start implementing. We are coming up again with more different technologies workshop. Even we are coming again with the Appium as well, but next time we'll come with the iOS. So just fill the feedback forms for the certification. Okay then, thank you all. Have a nice day. Thank you,
Thank
Ramesh.
you.
Thank you.